So I think they
I
have
think
big week
listen,
for them. Big week for them, proving it against two quality opponents. Michigan's playing well, even though they had maybe one of the weirdest games I've ever seen last night against who did they play? I was there. Who did they?
don't you hate that?
I literally just flew home against Nebraska.
Why was it one of the weirdest games? I didn't see it.
The turnovers were bizarre on both sides, and the runs. I
Really?
think Michigan went on a 30-6 run, and then that was countered by a 24-2 run by Nebraska. I mean, Michigan got up by 24 points, and then they turned it over 4 times in a row right before the half, and Nebraska cut it to 10. And then Michigan pushed it back out, and Nebraska went on a massive run again. It was so weird. I mean, it's just the weirdest game.
Can Michigan somehow find its way, because it did last year? They weren't great in the regular season last year and ended up going to the Sweet 16. Could they get into the tournament? What do they have to do to get in the tournament?
Yeah. They're like Carolina and Kentucky. They have 2 quad 1 wins. They're 2-8 in quad 1 games. So Indiana game Saturday, massive. Wisconsin away, huge opportunity. That would be a quad 1 game. Michigan State at home, quad 1 game. Rutgers away, quad 1 game. Wisconsin at home, probably not, I would think, because of their net. But it could be. Illinois away, definite quad 1. Indiana away, definite. So they've got, out of their, how many games they have left? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of their 7 games remaining, they will have 6 quad 1 opportunities. Now, you got to win some of them. I don't think that they're certainly not in right now. I don't even know if they're in the discussion right now in terms of you have the first 4 out, the next 4 out. They're not in those 8 teams. But I think with their schedule, there is a glimmer of hope. But you got to win Saturday if you want to get into that conversation.
Yeah, I would say you're right. I mean, I think if they get in, I don't know. I mean, you got obviously an elite level big. Jett Howard gets hot. You know, this team's been a little disappointing.
Kobe Buffkin's playing really well.
And so he's
Doug really
McDaniel.
Defending. Yeah, and Doug McDaniel. Think about this. He was recruited to be probably the 3rd string point guard. You're assuming Frankie Collins is not leaving, and you think you have Jalen Llewellyn. Llewellyn blew his knee out. Frankie Collins transferred to Arizona State. And interestingly enough, he had the same situation happen at his high school. He went to a high school in Virginia. I think is it Paul VI Catholic school?
Yep.
And they had their backcourt his freshman year was Jeremy Roach, Anthony Harris, and Trevor Keels. And Roach and Harris blow their knee out, and he gets thrown in and played well. And he's done the same exact thing this year. He has some things he needs to get better at, but I think 4 games coming into last night, 18 assists, 3 turnovers. He shot it at 35% from 3 in Big Ten play. Needs to be better finishing around the rim, but he's small, so that's tough. He's got a chance to be a good player.
Are you surprised, Rob, when you look at Michigan 14-10, 8-5? I know they lost Llewellyn, but it wasn't like they knew
he wasn't playing very well.
Correct.
He wasn't like
anyway. Yeah, he wasn't this guy that was like the answer. We didn't know what he was going to bring from the Ivy League.
I'm really not surprised. Buffkin's a young sophomore. He's finally started to come on. Hunter has been Hunter, but Hunter hasn't played. He's played at an all Big Ten level. He has not, for most of the season, been in an All-American level. I wouldn't say he played like an All-American last night. 2 games prior to that, Northwestern and Ohio State, he did. He played like All-American Hunter Dickinson. Jett Howard's been really good, but he's young. Defensively, he struggles. Terrace Reed's given them some decent minutes, but still, you're playing behind Hunter, and he's limited offensively. Terrence Williams has kind of just been okay at the 4. He played well last night, but hasn't been great all year.
He's not an offensive guy.
I just don't think that they're, when you look at their roster, the talent level compared to some of the better teams in the Big Ten, you look at versus a Purdue, versus Illinois, versus Indiana, I don't think their roster stacks up from a talent standpoint from an overall perspective.
Which is crazy, Rob, because again, I mean, you look at, the recruiting rankings don't mean shit. But they got a lot of dudes on their team that are highly ranked. Yeah. Terrace Reed is one, but he can't play when you got Hunter.
And they've played them together some, and it's actually at times been okay.
I wonder where this program goes moving forward. That's my biggest thing is Juwan took over a really good situation, right? Not a lot of guys take over what he did with John Beeline leaving. A great culture. He left them good enough players so they could be good. And obviously, Juwan's recruited at a crazy high level, right? And he's aided by the fact that you bring in your son, who's probably a first-round pick. Could be a
It'll be interesting to see if he leaves this year, just because his circumstances are so different than most first-round. Your dad's the coach,
right?
Your dad's made a lot of money in the NBA.
Yep.
You know, he's certainly a first-round type player. Juwan Howard can hoop.
If he leaves, does Dad try to leave for the NBA at some point? Because I think the primary reason why Juwan has stuck around, even after getting some level of interest from the NBA, is because he wanted to coach his kids.
I don't know. I feel like he really likes coaching at Michigan because it's his alma mater. I do believe that he feels strongly about that. Not that the NBA wouldn't intrigue him. He coached there before this and was on Eric Spoelstra's staff, so I could see where it would be appealing. But I don't think he's just there because his kids are there. I think he wants to be at Michigan.
Yeah. Well, again, it's your alma mater.
Yeah, right. He feels it's a special place for him.
He's done a good job. Juwan's done better than most for former NBA players with $100 million in their bank account. Way better than most. So I want to see where it goes in the next couple of years, and if Michigan can kind of, because for the last 2 years they've been mediocre in the regular season now. Completely mediocre.
I mean, last year's season was saved by the fact that you make that run, you beat Tennessee, you go to the Sweet 16.
Yes.
That really did kind of save that year.